Hello, my name is Liza. I'm the Seriously Silly Stamper, and welcome to my very first YouTube tutorial. Today I'd like to show you how to do two-step stamping onto vellum. When I'm making a vellum project and it's two stamps, I like to do it first on a scrap piece of paper so I know that I will have my second stamp lined up perfectly. So to begin, I'm using the High Tide stamp set, and I'm going to use the solid stamp as my first stamp. Photopolymer stamps from Stampin' Up! Are very sticky, which is a good thing because you don't want them to come off your blocks, but sometimes they will pick up your paper. So just make sure that you put your paper back directly into the corner. I'm going to be stamping with Night of Navy because this is a votive project, and I thought it's a lighthouse, it's dark, it would make for a nice shadow. So ink it up really well. Give it a good stamp. And see, it's a little splotchy, but it's okay because this is just our initial piece. Now we're going to place our vellum down in the same position because now we know that our lighthouse will stamp where we want it. We'll give our stamp some good ink and stamp onto our paper. There we go. Make sure that you clean off your stamp in between because we're going to be using Versamark next. I have an absorber that I just used to clean off my stamps. And next we're going to make sure that our image is actually dry because we're going to be putting embossing powder onto this vellum. We're going to be using our embossing buddy, and if you don't dry it very well, you're going to get ink on your embossing buddy. So just give it a little bit of a zap with your heat gun. That looks like to be pretty good. Place it back. Now, I think I might have been off a little bit on my paper. I'm not sure, so hopefully this is going to stamp back in its proper spot. We cleaned off our stamp. We're going to use our embossing buddy, anti-static. Oh, we're not doing that. We're going to use our, Versamark. Ink up our stamp. And then place our stamp onto our vellum. I'm going to clean off our stamp again. Get it ready for the second stamp. I like to use a coffee filter when I place my embossing powder down onto my lighthouse. This makes it for easier cleanup and no spilling. Just give it a little bit of a tap. Get the stray embossing powder off and place your embossing powder back into your container. This way we don't make a mess accidentally. Take your heat gun and set your embossing powder. Yes, it does get hot. If you noticed, I did turn my vellum upside down. This way it makes it not warp as badly. Now we're going to continue with the exact same process, but we're using the second stamp. So we're going to take our image, place it back into our stamp press, get our second layer stamp, position it right over the first stamp. Again, I just picked up the paper. Take your Night of Navy. Okay, that looks like it's going to be in a good spot. Replace our scrap with our actual vellum. Ink up your stamp. Transfer the ink onto your vellum. Because this is a shadow, I like to do a second tapping of ink just so that it's a little bit darker. Okay, clean off your stamp, because again, we're going to be using Vellum. Using my absorber. Okay, now it's wet, so remember, so that you don't get a blue embossing buddy, zap it with your heat gun. Place your vellum back in your stamp press. Hit it with your embossing buddy. Embossing inverse mark on top of your stamp. Spread the ink evenly. Clean off your stamp. What am I doing? I forgot. Oh yeah, we're going to put on embossing powder. Tap it off. Put your excess back into your jar for easy cleaning. We're going to run our heat gun again over our image. And there you have it. I think it came out pretty good. You put a nice little votive candle behind it, and you'll watch your lighthouse light up too. Thanks so much for joining me on my first tutorial, and I'd really love it if you could leave me a comment or some feedback and let me know what I can do to improve any future videos. Thank you. Happy stamping.